On my decluttering journey, I tried many different methods of decluttering. I tried the popular KonMari method, then I also decluttered based on practicality, so stuff that I haven't used in a year. Then I also tried to be really minimal and I tried a packing party, and then I also tried to decluttering based on my values, the person that I want to become. And even though they have a lot of benefits, especially for the other areas of our home, when it comes to our closet, I wouldn't really pick them for my go-to decluttering method because they don't give us enough information. So today I want to talk about the absolute best way of decluttering your closet, because this method, it's not only gonna give you a smaller closet, but it's also gonna help you find your style, change your shopping almost overnight, and also it's gonna help you build your style confidence. And I know this sounds like a really bold claim, maybe you don't believe me, but I personally use this on myself, on my walk-in closet when I was decluttering, so I can really promise you that it gives you all of these benefits. Now, the biggest reason I don't really like the other methods when it comes to closet decluttering is because lack of analysis. Because if you just go into your wardrobe and you pick an item and then you ask, does this spark joy, or have I used it in a year or not? This is not really a lot of information and it cannot help you improve your style or shopping habits. That's why I truly believe that if we want to declutter our closet successfully in the long run, we have to put every single item in our wardrobe on our body and then analyze it very deeply. Now, if this scares you and you just want to click out of the video, please don't, because we're gonna break everything down, we're gonna make it a lot less overwhelming, and we're gonna still keep it fun, because that is still very important when it comes to decluttering. But I also want you to understand that this will take a lot more effort than normal decluttering methods, because more effort equals more benefits. I mean, not always, but in this case, very much so. That's why step one is to really commit to this process, to understand, yes, it's gonna take a lot of time, but it's gonna be very much worth it. So the quickest way to avoid overwhelm and to enjoy the process is to actually go through your closet piece by piece, category by category, instead of doing everything at once. Now, the categories that I went through in my clothes section is actually long sleeve tops. So this is pretty much everything that it's kind of a bit warmer. It can be a thinner jumper, warmer jumper, turtleneck, all of that. Then the second category is short sleeve tops. This is also camis or maybe sleeveless tops, pretty much items that you would wear for maybe warmer days. And then I also have a category of dresses. Here I would just put every single dress that you have. It doesn't matter the season. And then the next category are all of your bottoms, so shorts, skirts, pants, jeans, all of that stuff. I would include them all in one category. And then I would also do all the cardigans and blazers and maybe some denim jackets or jackets that you kind of wear for the inside, not outside, if you know what I mean, in the same category. Then I would have outerwear, which is all of the jackets and coats, everything that you wear outside. And then I would have shoes. Now, of course, we don't have to stop only with our clothes. You can do that in other areas of your wardrobe as well. So when it comes to accessories, you can do that with all of your bags. You can also do that with all of your belts. Then you can also try on all of your hats and gloves and scarves. All of that, I would just put them in the same category. And then you can also go through all of your jewelry. And then if you want even more extra points, then you can do other sections of your closet, such as pajamas, such as underwear, loungewear, sportwear, and swimwear. Like I said, you can do 1, 2, maybe even 3 categories per day. It really depends on how much you have. But if this is overwhelming to you when you're hearing all of these different categories, then I would just suggest that you pick the easiest to start with. Go with the easiest one so you can kind of get into it, you can build momentum, and then go through the harder ones. So once you pick a category, then of course you're gonna analyze it, like I said, and put every single piece in that category on your body. To really make the most out of it, I suggest that you have a notebook ready and a full-length mirror, so every time you put something on, you can see fully what's going on, and with your notebook you can simply write down all of the important details that I'm gonna talk about next. But before I do, I just want to quickly mention that you want to also put a little bit of effort into your face and hair, because if you do that with a really messy hair, messy bun, and no makeup, and you don't like how you appear in the mirror, once you're gonna put clothing items on, you're not gonna feel yourself, you're not gonna get really great results. So don't get me wrong, you don't need a full face of makeup and a really, stylish, polished hair, but just put a little bit of the effort in so your face kind of matches the clothes that you're trying on. So once you have the item on your body, you just want to quickly write what that piece is so you know what you're talking about. And then the first thing that you want to write down is the color. So this is very straightforward. You just see which color is it. If it's multiple colors, you write more of them, but just write down the colors in your piece. Then you also want to write down the pattern. If it's a solid color, just write that down. Or maybe if it's a floral thing, maybe a check, maybe it has a logo, all of those details. If the item has any kind of patterns, write that down. Then you also write down the fit of the item. So here I'm talking about if it's slim, if it's fitted, or maybe if it's loose. Maybe it's a combination of both, and maybe you have like a slim body with really puffed sleeves. If you have any kind of combination, just write it down for future reference. And then you also want to write down the cut. Now, when it comes to tops, this means that you have to focus on the neck. So if it's a crew neck, V-neck, U-neck, off-shoulder, all of that stuff. You can also focus on the sleeves, where they end, if they're kind of short sleeves, sleeveless, 3/4 long, all of the details. And then you can also focus on the length of the top, maybe if it's cropped or just normal length, maybe it's a tunic. And then when it comes to bottoms, you want to write down the rise, if it's a high rise, medium rise, low rise, and then also the length, if it's jeans, are they cropped at the ankle, full length, 3/4, short. When it comes to skirts, again, are they a mini skirt, maxi skirt, all of those details. So you want to write down cut as well, because it's really useful. And then you also want to assess the comfort level of the item that you're wearing. So just move around a little bit and pay attention to that, and then write down the number from 1 to 5, 5 being the most comfortable and 1 being the least. Then we're also going to write down the material. Now you can write something really general, such as really, soft and elastic, or you can go to the label and you can really see the components. You can write down the percentages or just the main fabric that is in that material, all of those details, because that's again going to be very helpful later on. Then also just quickly write the brand of the item. And then I have an extra question that is kind of optional. You can decide if you want to do it or not. It really depends how much you want to learn, how much stuff you have. But that question is, how do I feel in this item? For that, I would answer with 1 or maybe 2 words max. And you just write down something like stylish or feminine or cute or youthful, or maybe you feel old or outdated or strict, or it can be positive or negative. But if you really want to gather a little bit more information about how the clothes make you feel, it's worth answering this question as well. And then the last question is, do I want to keep it? You can either have yes, no, or even maybe. But when it comes to maybes, you just also want to have another sub question of what would make this item a 10, a yes, pretty much, so you have a little bit more information. And then the last thing that I want to mention here, you really want to do this by yourself to really build your style confidence, because if you do this with other people and you really ask for their opinion, what do you think about this color? What do you think about this fit? Do you like it on me? What do you think? What do you think? And they're going to help you go through this process. Then you're not going to have the confidence of knowing your style and what you feel best in. So of course, other people can be there, they can keep you company, but you really don't want to include them too much in your decluttering process, because that way you're going to build so much more confidence. And also don't forget to have fun while you're doing this process. You can put on some music on, you can have some people that keep you company, but they're not involved. Then you can also have maybe a cup of tea or a coffee or a drink that you enjoy. Maybe you can have a treat after. Do something to make this process enjoyable. Now, I personally, I really love decluttering. I really did love it. So once it was over, I was kind of sad. I know I'm probably not the majority of people. I think majority of people, they don't enjoy decluttering. So if that is you, make sure to spice things up and build some fun into this process with something else other than decluttering. So once you go through this process, you're gonna be left with a yes pile, with a no pile, and a maybe pile. And with a yes and no pile, we know what to do with them, but with a maybe pile, I have to talk about it specifically. And this brings me to step 4, which is about don't worry about decluttering maybes. Now, the mistake that I did in the past is that I assumed wrongly that all of the maybes just because they're not 100% yes, they are a no. So I personally decluttered maybes that I wish that I hadn't. And yeah, I still have a few pieces that I do remember and I'm like, oh, I wish I would have them right now. Because once you're doing this for the first time and you don't really know a lot about your style and you have the maybes, it's quite possible you don't understand why you like it and why you dislike it at the same time, because that's usually a maybe. You like it and dislike it at the same time. So in that situation, I find it best to just leave these items for now, and then once you learn a little bit more about your style and what you appreciate and what is important to you, you can come to those pieces later on and then see if they, transform into yeses or into nos, because it's possible for maybe to become yes. It happened to me before, and it's also possible that it becomes a no, which I think it's a majority of the time, but you just want to give it a little bit more time before just decluttering everything. Now, of course, this is not get out of jail free card to just put everything in a maybe pile and then you don't have to declutter anything. You still want to be a bit more ruthless and observant and really honest with yourself, what you love and what you don't love. But for those items that you're really on the fence and you're not sure about, maybe should be an option. That's why I'm mentioning it as well. Okay, so if we're not decluttering maybe items, then what to do with them? I have two propositions. The first one is something that I love to do, is to simply put all of your maybes back in your closet with all of your other yeses, to give yourself a little bit more time so you can see if you reach for them. Then if you do decide to wear them, then you can observe how you feel, if you enjoy them, and then over time you're gonna get a clearer idea if you like this piece or not. And then the second thing you can try is to store this maybe item somewhere out of your closet, maybe in an empty drawer somewhere, in a box, maybe in an empty suitcase, so you can kind of get it out of mind, out of sight, and you can see if maybe you miss any items, and then maybe 3 months or 6 months later you can go through that pile again and reassess it and see how you feel. Now, I would say that your wardrobe is a bit smaller and you don't have a lot of yeses that you kept, then storing maybe items, it's not ideal. But if you have a lot of yeses, then maybe it's not a bad idea to put maybes in storage, so you can actually reassess how much clothes you actually need in general, not just for the decluttering purpose, but in general, so you can see how minimal you want to be. So it's like a little experiment. Just be mindful about not buying duplicates. Then once you've gone through the whole category and you have loads of data, now we have to make a conclusion. This is where magic happens. So what you want to do is actually, again, have a notebook or a paper ready, maybe a paper separately so you can go through your notes easily. And then you have a yes column and a no column. And then also on the left, you write down all of the details that you went through. So a color, a pattern, a fit, a cut, material, brand, and how do you feel in it. So this is what you have in front of you. And then you go through each item in your notebook and write it down in the column accordingly. Now, maybes I wouldn't really include in this process because it's very likely that there are some things you like about the maybe item and some things you don't like, and you just don't want to put them and skew the results. But what you can do is, if you answer the question of what would make this item a 10, you can put that detail maybe in a yes pile so you can see what is important to you. So by the end of this, you have a piece of paper with all of the information of what you love in a yes column and what you don't like in a no column. And this is where everything changes, because, for example, I found that when I was doing this process, all of my V-necks, absolutely all of them, they were in a no column. So for me, that was very eye-opening, and I knew I don't like V-necks, and I never bought one V-neck ever since then. I also realized all of my green items are in a no column. Then I saw that I really love white. I also realized that I like 98% of cotton and 2% elastane when it comes to jeans. How specific is that? So when I go into the store, before I even try jeans on, I look at the label, and if the percentage is a bit different, I just don't really bother, because that's a combination of material that I like when it comes to my jeans. So this is really where everything changes, and you have that information, and your style and shopping is forever changed. Now, I hope you're still here and I haven't scared you away with all of the different information. If you are, leave me a dress emoji down below so I can know. And also, if you're enjoying this video, give it a thumbs up. It really helps me out. So thank you, and let's continue. Now, to really reap the benefits of all the decluttering you just did, then you also have to make sure that all the items that you put back into your closet, they are put there in a smart, right way. And I have the most important rules to follow here. The first one is to make sure everything is visible. So if you're going through your bottoms and you have your yes pile you're putting back into your closet, make sure that every single item in that yes pile is very visible in your closet and you can easily reach it. Otherwise, you're gonna, again, forget what you have. Things are gonna be at the back. You're not gonna know how to combine things. It's just gonna be confusing. So that's one thing to do. And then the second thing to do is to just avoid putting back seasonal stuff you're 100% sure you're not gonna wear. So if you're going through your tops in the summer months, don't put back in winter jumpers because that's counterproductive. It's gonna make your closet messier and fuller unnecessarily because it's summer, so you don't really need winter jumpers. So those are the two most important rules I would say to pay attention to when you're doing this decluttering process. Now, if you want to know even more details about how to organize your closet in a smart way so everything is neat and tidy and clutter-free, then watch this video next. If you enjoyed this one, give it a thumbs up and I will see you next time.